Welcome back to another episode of Exploring Whiskeys. I'm Eric.
I'm Kevin, and today we're going to be going and trying a Japanese whiskey.
It kind of walks that fine line.
It does. It does. I mean, the rules in Japan are very, very loose. They did just pass laws in the last month or so that would basically disqualify. This is not a Japanese whiskey. It is not marketed as a Japanese whiskey, but it calls it a whiskey.
But I wonder now with the new laws what it falls into, though.
Distilled spirits. I don't know if they have a name outside of that. So this is the Ohishi Whisky, is what it says. It is a rice whiskey.
That's our first on the show?
Our very first rice whiskey, absolutely.
Probably our only.
That would be my guess. That would be my guess. It will probably be the only one because it's a little funny tasting. There's a lot of history here. And they have a lineup that's like, again, thinking Scotch with Japan whiskey. The Japanese whiskey is very like Scotch. Like they have it's like 6, 7 different lines of rice whiskey that they have. Thought that was interesting.
Well, but I mean, if you figured it out, I mean, you can kind of play with your recipes a little bit. I mean, it's not uncommon, especially
different barreling, different
Scotches,
aging, different.
Yep.
They've been around since 1872. They kind of have a pretty solid idea of what they're doing. They're located near one of the premier rivers in Japan, the Kuma, I think it is, river. So that is what part of what their claim to fame is right? Claim to fame. Yeah, that's right. Is the water. The water's known for very, very high quality water. That's what they're using. I think that's what they use to flood their rice paddy fields. They actually grow 30% of the rice used in their whiskey
right on the property.
Right on the property. And they have, what is it, the koi in there,
koi
carp,
in there,
whatever.
They
Eat the algae and swim around and all that kind of stuff. So
for them.
Kind of the idea is really cool. Whether or not rice is considered a whiskey, I don't know.
It's kind of
an argument.
We talked before the show, though. I think it's one of those that probably could be marketed as smaller packaging. You know, you go to hibachi, and it's I want a bottle of sake.
Yeah.
Well, can I get a bottle of your rice?
Yeah, the rice whiskey.
Rice whiskey.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, not everyone likes sake, but there's a number of our friends that prefer whiskey. So.
You got to think this is basically. I mean, in theory, this is kind of like sake, but it's just aged. This particular bottle is aged in ex-Brandy cask.
Okay.
So, I mean, most of the time sake's clear. This is aged. That's really kind of the only difference. And to sake, I'm thinking.
All I get on the nose is ethanol.
Yeah, which it's not the highest ethanol. 85.8? 85.8, yeah.
That's
all right.
Mainly what I get. I'm not picking up much. But it's sweeter. It smells sweeter. I don't think it's because of brandy.
Yeah, they do have a standard version that's a blend of brandy and sherry cask, and then you can get the single barrels, which are either sherry or brandy. This is a single barrel that's brandy.
Right, so I do get a whiskey bourbon nose. It's very smooth. It's different. The taste. I think American whiskeys and bourbons, if it's young, you can tell on the nose. You can absolutely tell on the taste for the most part, and it's kind of harsh. I don't know. Like it has a whiskey nose, but it's really, really smooth. It does smell younger.
It smells a little young, ethanol, sharp. But then it comes through mochi. The rice stuff on the outside, not the ice cream on the inside, but that rice dough, that's kind of what I get on the flavor profile. A little bit of that sweeter, but not overly sweet. It's just that weird like rice dough. I said weird, but I love mochi. So
I think the longer you let it sit in your mouth, though, it starts to finish just like a real sweet whiskey. And I was expecting I don't know what I was expecting. I was
totally different.
Something
very different. Yeah, there's a lot of powdered sugar type notes that kind of sit there. On top of there's something else. There's something underneath it that's a little, it's not medicinal. It's not the right thing, but Maybe it's just the ethanol on a flavor profile. I'm not sure. This is a store pick. Yeah, that's the reason why it's a single barrel. It is a store pick. They don't. I don't believe this is actually sold in Japan. I think this is for export only, and it's not considered a Japanese whiskey. So if you look up like a traditional Japanese whiskey, it doesn't qualify for that. As far as I could find, everything's imported into southern San Francisco. They import all of it and then kind of shoot it all out from there.
I'll go back to my original comment though. If I went to Hibachi, I would buy a smaller bottle of this than rather than ordering a Ichiban or a Kirin beer. I'd rather just get a little smaller bottle of this and a little small glass and just sip on this until the feast showed up.
If this was chilled, I really think that would, because sometimes sake's served hot, sometimes it's served slightly chilled. I could see this not an ice cube. It does not need anything.
No, chill. Yeah, just leave it in the refrigerator for a while.
Yeah, if it was refrigerated, I really could see that the sweetness, a little bit of a proof note while you're eating hibachi. Yeah, I could definitely see that working.
You need to go talk to the owner of
Ozeki. Ozeki, how you doing? You need to you need to go to that store because they have probably still a bunch of these bottles, and see if you can work a deal.
My expectations weren't very high to begin with.
Well, everything about it's weird.
It's
right?
way better than I thought it was going to be.
There you go. I mean, the green color reminds me of like an olive oil or like an avocado oil bottle is really kind of what it kind of reminds me of. The fact that it's rice based, so you can't actually malt rice. They actually take the rice and they put like a mold into it, and that starts to make it malted. And that's how they're making this whiskey. So that's everything about it is a little weird. Like it just doesn't work the way a wheat or a barley or a rye or any of those kind of corn, any of that. Like it just doesn't work that way. So it's a little funny, but it's not bad.
No, actually it's pretty good.
The ethanol on the nose is really overly present.
Yeah.
It's odd.
But it gives it that, right off the gate, that young initial, I think across the palate, it comes across young, but then it really mellows out.
You never have all three, right?
No.
The finish on that's really nice. The nose is a little off. The initial palate is, there's a couple different things there. One of them is off-putting. The other like 2 or 3 things are they're okay, but there's something in there that's a little off. Finish is solid. I'm okay with the finish.
And you said there's another, like, what, 6?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different releases. Different variety. I don't know if it's different rices or if it's different, aging or an age statement or whatever it was. But I was just reading Whiskey Advocate, and they had a list of all of them in the back of all these very specific Japanese rice whiskeys that were all from the Ohishi distillery.
It'd be interesting to kind of do a flight.
That would be interesting. Yeah, try a little bit of an A/B and the differences and things like that. And I'll give them this: they have a better website than 1792 does. There was information, there was history.
Again,
I don't know where
I saw in the lineup.
Yeah,
my expectations weren't super high. It definitely exceeded them.
So set the bar low and go from there.
Yeah,
well, it's different. It's not whiskey. Like I kind of agree with what whoever created the
based
rule.
On the grains they use, it doesn't fall. But I think the nose.
It's got a lot of. It's like very similar.
The initial taste of it is a whiskey, a young whiskey.
Yeah.
Or younger, I should say. But but then it quickly just mellows out.
It does remind me. The nose is a little bit more of that artisanal like whiskeys that we've had, like that like grain. Oddly enough, like grain forward ethanol, like that artisanal note. I kind of get that now. It's a fun little experiment, and I would like to try that flight.
Yeah, I have to go there. I'm not sure we're gonna get them all here.
Oh, we got another trip.
Let's go from Scotland to Japan.
Yeah, why not?
Again, my expectations weren't very high for this bottle. I guess I kind of did the wrong thing and judged the book by the cover. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
So I think overall, I think it's
It's solid, and it's definitely
solid.
something that you should, if you want to experiment. This is a neat little experiment.
This is great for a little party.
Yeah,
Especially our
try
friends
this.
that are strong bourbon drinkers,
Yeah.
some that don't necessarily dabble in the scotches, but like, hey, just pull this out.
Yeah, give that a shot. See what you think. Yeah,
Asian whiskey, since it walks that fine line of.
it does. Yeah,
So, but again, overall, I think it was actually a pretty decent bottle.
yeah. I'm not disappointed.
What'd you pay for it?
It's not cheap. I want to say I paid mid-70s for this. There was a reason for that as well. That buying this put me in a drawing for some allocated whiskeys, which I did not win, which you did.
I did. El Martili.
Yeah, that'll be coming up at some point as well. But I did not win anything. But I was just like, I wanted to try. I like the idea of trying another Asian whiskey because I don't have a whole heck of a lot of them. So when I saw that, I was like, and it put my name in the drawing, I'm in. So that's how that came about. But high 70s.
Yeah. I don't have any Asian whiskeys on my bar cart. I need to find something to put on there. Typically the bourbons, a few Tennessee whiskeys, and I'm starting to do more of the Irishes and the Scotches. But
Right.
you know, there's probably a few go-tos in the Japanese whiskey world that should just throw on there.
First white whiskey.
Well, if you've had, I'd be curious to see
Yeah.
who out there has had some of the other ones and how they kind of stack up. I'd love to hear their opinions on those.
Yeah, which one should, if we can only try like one or two, which one should we go for?
Yep.
I'd love to see a comment from someone out there.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you joining this episode. We hope you liked it. If you did, we encourage you to select the like button at the bottom of the screen.
While you're down there, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notified every time we put out a new episode. Leave a comment. And yeah, keep exploring your whiskeys.
All right, until the next episode. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for watching.
Cheers.